One of the most wonderful experiences of life is to love and to receive love. Yet human love is so tainted. We need to redefine love here. What is true love? Love is sacrificial. Jesus moves so closely towards you that he would die in your place. Video. It's nice to meet you if you're new here, and if you have been tuning in already for many weeks, I am so appreciative for your support, for your loyalty, and just for showing up every week. I would love to engage in more dialogue with you. If you have specific questions, if you have your own reflections, specifically for the series, I've been doing some exercises where I encourage us to kind of process together, and I'm really interested to see what you guys have been processing through as well alongside me. So if you want to know what my videos are kind of all about, I'm a Christian, and so a lot of what I have to say and reflections on my life experiences thus far do end up tying into my Christian faith. I just deep dive into so many topics and questions that we all think about constantly, whether we know it or not, and whether we want to admit it to ourselves or not. It's just important to me that we live our lives not in a blur. I really want us to have clarity in life and to live with intention and not just letting life happen to us. Often it takes a lot of courage to step out of your daily routine, out of the temptation to just go towards distractions in your life, and to be sober-minded. We almost want to be living life like drugged up. We want to be living life on the highest highs, ignoring pains and sufferings, just trying to eliminate them, and we don't want to think too hard about the uncomfortable things. But to be sober-minded is to have clarity and to live a life with purpose. And so this is the series, The Human Heart. In this series, we've been exploring why we yearn for the things we yearn for, why we feel like things or people in our life don't satisfy, why is it not enough? Why do we long for more? I, with you together, have dove into some topics such as, why do I care so much about my life mattering? Am I wasting my life away? Another topic has been, am I hiding parts of myself to present myself in a certain way to the world? And because of that, I'm missing out on authenticity and genuine relationships. The most previous episode in this series was about control and how letting go of control is enormously hard. Letting that anxiety rule over us every single day. Head over to those videos. I should have them all under a playlist now. Explore. It takes courage to explore, so I commend you if you are deciding to go down these different avenues. Now, today's episode, kind of tough to tackle all in one episode, but I do want each of these videos of this Human Heart series to nail down the core pillars of our human heart and the tendencies of our human heart. The fourth chapter is about love, is about why we crave love, why we crave acceptance, and also why it's never enough. Like, we keep thinking, oh, I now have received this love and this is going to satisfy me, but why is the love that we've always wanted never enough when we end up getting it? Obviously, love can be so many things. Love can be romantic love. Love can be familial love. Love can be friend love. Love can be even acquaintances. Like, how do we love strangers? How do we love people in communities and cultures that we have no experience with, like people we can't relate to? How do we love people we can relate to? So obviously, I don't want to tackle all of those because it's also super nuanced. It's very situational. This is not a video that teaches, all the practical ways to receive love and to give love. But as you've seen with the series, the purpose of it is to get at why we crave love. And I think for a lot of us, the romantic love piece is probably the piece that is the biggest, right? In terms of like, does this person like me back? Like, will I ever be in a relationship? Will I ever get married? But then also for a lot of people who have had trauma in their life or very difficult experiences in their family or with certain friendships, especially in childhood, where maybe there was a lack of love or a breakage of trust. I feel like a lot of people do go through that and deal with that to varying degrees. You know, I'll touch on some of these things, but I'll probably primarily talk about romantic love just because it's probably the one that most of us can relate to, either having craved in the past or currently crave or yada yada. So that was a long intro. Hopefully you stuck with me through it. Let's get into this. So let's start with this. The longing of love. What is the longing of love? The longing of love is this ache deep inside of us, right? Why is it that no matter how much we've achieved in life, whatever successes in our work, no matter how much we surround ourselves with tons of people and go to parties and gatherings, we try to not feel lonely. But why is it never enough? Why do we feel like there's sometimes this missing piece of, I just wish I could be seen. I just wish I had that person, that go-to person that I could come home to, that I could feel comfort and coziness with at the end of the day, that I could share my deepest sorrows and vulnerabilities with, and they would still accept me, the raw me. No matter how successful we are, how popular we are, how independent we are, a lot of us still long to be loved. What are we actually longing for when we long for love? Is it that we want that romantic feeling, those sparks, those butterflies? Is it that we long for someone? We long for that somebody that is a comfort to us. And all these different factors might be tied together, but I think at the end of the day, we long to be cherished. And I might have talked about this in a previous video, but it's like, we don't just want to be seen. We don't just want to be accepted. We don't just want to have someone to live a parallel life with us, but we want to be cherished. We want to be valued. We want someone to go out of their way and say that I have chosen you. And that type of security that comes from somebody choosing you. They aren't with me because I have performed in a certain way. They aren't with me because of some characteristic that's going to come and go as seasons come and go. No, like, they are with me because they have chosen to stay by my side. And that type of security is where we aren't able to just live with the person, but we're able to rest with that person. We're able to thrive and flourish and be challenged and to grow even in yourself, in your own individuality as you're with this person. And so love creates this kind of belonging that is like none other. It's this feeling of home. Now I want to get back at this root of the longing for love. It does come from wanting to be chosen. Hopefully many of us haven't experienced traumatic experiences with our families or with parents, but with people who maybe didn't have an ideal relationship with their mother or with their father. Like, it's so difficult, I can't even begin to imagine. And, you know, that takes a lot of relearning and rewiring because they grow up in this environment where even the people that brought them into this world, right? The people that should love them, they feel like they have no reason to be loved, right? If even their own parents, they don't make their kids feel like they were chosen, then how is that kid ever going to feel like anyone else in the world, any stranger, is going to choose them if even their own parents don't choose them? And so that's why a lot of trauma, a lot of very negative experiences in our lives, the most vulnerable experiences, can come from love-related things, especially from close ones like family and friends and romantic partners. And so being chosen is such a powerful feeling, right? Being chosen means you've seen everyone else in the world and you still choose to be with me, to the point where you want to spend your time with me. You want to build a life with me. Being chosen, that is a powerful feeling, especially because your parents, they're the ones who brought you into the world. They're your family. Whoever chooses to spend their life with you. These people came from a different family. You once never knew them, and yet they have seen something in you and they want to be with you. And so that feeling of being chosen makes you feel like you're on top of the world. However, on the flip side, if you think about how powerful being chosen feels, then think about how much more powerful being rejected must feel. If we love the feeling of being chosen, then being rejected makes our heart drop into our stomach. You know, it's one thing to be rejected on the playground or by a friend that you wanted to win over. In a romantic relationship, or in your family, like if someone has specifically said, like, I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore, like, I want to separate paths from you, like, I don't want to build a life with you anymore, that is a stab to the heart, right? That hurts so deeply. And that's why heartache and breakups, that's probably one of the most Googled search items, or things that people go to therapy for. It's because being chosen is so powerful, and therefore the reciprocal of it, being rejected, is all the more powerful. So being rejected specifically in a romantic relationship is not just, woke up one day, they decided they didn't want to date me anymore. And that might be the intention of why someone breaks up with you, but how is that received? How is that rejection received by the other party? Usually that rejection is received, wow, you took a chance on me. You saw everything about me. You saw my weaknesses, my raw self. And then you decided I'm not worth choosing. I must be unlovable. Like, no, if you don't choose me, how can anybody else ever choose me? And so that's why romantic love can have such a stronghold over us, because it can either feel like tremendous self-validation or a tremendous letdown in self-worth. And when there is that lack of love as well from your parents or somebody else that's had a big influence on your life, that too is a tremendous impact on how you see yourself and your lovability and the ability of somebody else choosing you in this lifetime. And so now, up to this point, we've covered the longing for love and what that looks like, why we long for love, and how that why is rooted in the fact that we want to be chosen by somebody. And when we aren't chosen by somebody, that chemically changes the makeup of our brain. So that is tremendous risk if you think about it, right? Like, we are dealing with powerful emotions, powerful feelings of security and insecurity, worth and worthlessness. And so that's feels like a massive gamble, right? Like, you're either going to experience on top of the world feelings of love and acceptance, or you're going to feel like utter trash, easily disposed of, right? Like, what kind of gamble is that? So love is such a risky thing. At least we think it is. And sometimes we go into it blindly because we think that we have a 100% probability of getting that positive thing. That 100%, there's no way it can go wrong. And then when it hits us like a truck, when that first breakup happens, when that first feeling of rejection happens, oh boy, does that send you down the drain, right? If you're watching this and if you've experienced that, it changes everything for you, at least in that instant, in that moment. And so why is love so risky? In the last video, we covered control and needing to let go of control. If love is so important to us, right, having this love, we'd want to control as many factors of it as possible. And it's just ironic because this is the realm of life that we almost can control the least. We can't control love. We can't control whether somebody loves us or not. We can't control how perfectly they love us. We can't control their ability to respond and react and emote in ways that we like. And we can't control whether they stay or whether they leave. And we can't control a person's ability to understand us, right? Like, if you are in a relationship, even for couples who have been married for a very, very long time, if you're like, but you're my person, right? You need to understand everything about me. And when they realize that, wow, even my significant other is not perfect. They're limited. They're also a human being. And so as much as I want them to mind read, as much as I want them to know every single iota about me, they won't. And I can't control that. In relationships, there's constantly misunderstandings. There's constantly ways in which we disappoint each other and hurt each other. And so love is so imperfect in human relationships. And so because we can't control love, we can't control love when it occurs within a relationship. We can't control love outside of a relationship when you're looking for a relationship. that makes love super duper risky. And the thing is, like, we can't even be surprised by that. We can't even be like, wow, that person disappointed me in such an unexpected way. Because, like, if you do some self-reflection, you and I have so many insecurities. We make love some sort of monetary system because of our nature, because we tend to be selfish. We tend to be self-absorbed people, right? Whether you like it or not, guess what? We are some degree of self-absorbed, and that's not a good thing, right? Like, we are born with that. And the monetary system of love, it's almost like, okay, I've dished out my portion of love. I expect some sort of love in return. And, like, obviously in a friendship, in a relationship, you don't want it to be one-sided. You don't want to give out all of your love and you feel like you don't get anything in return. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But, like, if every payment of love needs to come back with an equal payment of love, then we've got love down wrong. And on top of that, like, that's something we do to self-destruct in our own relationships. But even when it comes to wanting love, not only do we try to pour out love with an expectation that they're going to love us back, but we also try to earn our love, right? Like, I'm going to perform in a certain way so that this person especially likes me today and, like, wants to give me their love. Or we have all these insecurities, right? And these real parts of ourselves that we try to hide. I am referencing back to a previous video in this series, but we do all these things out of our insecurity in order to earn love. And so if that's how we are naturally wired, we shouldn't be surprised if the other person disappoints us as well, because guess what? We are also tainted in the way that we love others. And so how bizarre is it, right? One of the most wonderful experiences of life is to love and to receive love from your family, from your friends, from significant other, from strangers. Any compliment a stranger gives you on the sidewalk or acts of love, they transform our hearts. They make our hearts moved. We are really touched by acts of love. And so human love is such a beautiful thing. Yet, unfortunately, human love, it has so many limits, it has so many risks, it has so much pain and suffering bundled up in it. I really do want to focus on this juxtaposition of the beauty of human love and the failings of it at the same time. So think about it. A parent that sacrifices for their child. When you see all that a loving parent, a loving mother, a loving father goes through to sacrifice for their child, they'd give up so many things just for the well-being of their child, right? The toil, the pain that they go through when they see their child in pain. That is beautiful love. The parents are never asking the child for anything in return, right? This is just purely a parental love. Or a friend that stays with you through periods of grief. My friend could be doing anything else with their life. They could be going out and having fun, but they see me in a lot of pain. They see that I'm grieving, and they decide to sit by my side, even if it's uneventful, even if it's not dramatic. It's the mundane sitting by my side. And I'm like, that is costly. You are using the time in your life to sit by my side, asking for nothing in return. And now I want to juxtapose these really beautiful human moments of love with when we get tired, when we fail, when we lash out at the people we love the most, when as a friend you get tired and you aren't able to stick by that friend who is going through that grief. The parent that feels like they make a mistake with their child out of their own desire to take control and the inability to let go a bit when it comes to raising their kids. And I think because we know the potential of beauty that love can bring, we do set a high bar for our loved ones. We do set expectations, and when they get disappointed, when there's misunderstanding, we realize that people, even our loved ones, can't be everything that we need. And it's interesting because, like, I am a big believer in, like, having your support, having your community, having your people, being in genuine relationships with people who are going to stay by your side. Like, that's how we get through this life. That's how we stay encouraged and motivated and driven, and we have a comfort to fall onto when we go through hard things. I am the biggest proponent of that. I think having your village, I think that's so important and like vital to the human life. So I'm not sitting here saying, well, I guess we got to give up on people because what can we do if we can't love perfectly? No, I love people. I think it's a necessity in our lives. However, it cannot be the only thing. We can't get all of our love from the people around us. Because when we set these high expectations and they disappoint us, what are we going to be tempted to do? Well, you misunderstand me. You don't get me. I guess you don't love me. You know what? We should part ways, right? If that's the case and we get at the heart of it, every relationship is imperfect. And so what are we going to do? You see these marriages fall apart, and it is really sad. There is so much brokenness in this world, and it's just all founded on this foundation of we hurt each other, we disappoint each other, and the friendships and relationships that do make it through, they often aren't thriving. They often consist of people who just decide, well, you're the best I got, so I guess I'll have to stick with you, or I don't want to go out looking for someone else to marry, or I've already got my friend group, these are people I'm comfortable with, I'm not going to go out and make new friends. I don't love them, they're not perfect, but whatever. We don't want to have that mentality either, right? So this is a question of how do we thrive in our friendships and relationships when we know that we will hurt them and that they will hurt us? Because the answer can't be friendship breakups, relationship breakups all the time, right? There might be a time and place for it for sure, but that can't be our go-to. But we also can't go to the other extreme of becoming apathetic, of deciding, you know what, I don't need to thrive in my relationships. I'm going to settle for these relationships, because that's not great either. That's not a fulfilling way to live our lives. So where are we at now? We all want love. And we all experience love. We experience love at multiple levels, very different types of relationships, yet we are left wanting more. What is it that we want more of? We want more love. Do we want more quantity of love? Do we just want to make more friends? I don't think that's the case either. We're exhausted. Especially once you get older and you're no longer in school and making all these friends, social commitments are tiring, right? I don't think the answer is that we want higher quantity of relationships per se. Maybe there are seasons in our life where we want to make new friends, but I don't think that's where the ache is coming from. I would like to say that the ache comes from we want a more complete love. We want a perfect love, an all-encompassing love, a love that satisfies every desire of our hearts. I feel now more than ever, social media, TV shows, movies is so saturated with love because our culture has reduced love into something that it's not. And so we have to reframe. We need to do a rediscovery of what true love actually is. We have to ask, what is the source of love? Let's turn to the Bible. How did God create us? God did not create in a vacuum with no relationship. No, God created man, then God created woman out of man to be in relationship with one another and to be in relationship with God himself, to obey God, to walk with God, to be in communion with God. So the creation of man and woman is so relational at its root. And so we know we're created with love, and it's because we were created in the image of God. God has perfect love, and that means humans have the capacity to love. Now, our culture has dumbed down love to be chemistry, to be the butterfly feeling, being happy and being comfortable, and there's no worry in the world. I just feel so blissful. And these can be signs of healthy relationships, but these feelings, this chemistry, feelings of bliss, this is what the definition of love has reduced down to. And honestly, it is a sad picture of love. And so instead, what is true love? Love is sacrificial. And remember when I was talking about these examples of a parent loving their child has nothing to do with how the child's going to repay the parent later on in the future. It's costing the parent time and energy and everything to love this child. That's sacrificial love. And think about the friend example. When a friend sacrifices their life, all the things they could be doing and pursuing, to sit by and listen to a friend in need. That's sacrifice. It's a very different type of love when you are performing well, right? For this person, you feel like you're earning it and you are everything this person would ever want and then the person decides to love you well. That's a very different love than when you are sick or you are going through something that is going to be burdening the other person, but they choose to move closer to you. That is a transformative type of love. We need to redefine love here to the sacrificial, deep, long-lasting type of love. What is the greatest act of sacrificial love that ever occurred in history? That greatest act is Jesus on the cross. And let's dissect this a bit, because I don't want it to be a Sunday school answer, which if you're not Christian, the Sunday school answer just means for kids who grew up in the church, they know the right answer. Jesus is the answer, guys. Like, why is that? We just talked about how in human relationships, the coolest transformative type of love is actually when you feel unlovable and someone moves closer towards you. They choose you. That is the deepest kind of love. Jesus moves towards you when you feel unlovable, and he moves towards you perfectly. He moves so closely towards you that he would die in your place for all the things that make you unlovable. It's not that he inches towards you. It's not that he comes and sits next to you. It's not that he comes and gives you a hug. He comes and takes on all of your unlovableness. That is what he dies for. He dies for our sins. Easier, more accessible way to call our sins is our unlovableness. The things that are not good in us. Jesus reaches towards us and he takes that on himself and says, those are now attached to my body and I will die in your place. And that is true sacrifice, right? Dying in someone's place. And like in the Old Testament, people would sacrifice animals because there is a debt to be paid, an offering. You know, I hear this analogy a lot, but it's like at the end of a banquet, the end of a delicious meal, there's a bill. There's a bill at the end of the meal, and someone's got to pay it. And each of us participated in this meal. Each of us has a line item on this bill that needs to be paid for. And each of these line items are things that are not good within us. These are all things that make us unlovable. These are all things that we need to pay for at the end. Jesus covers the bill. And not only does he cover the bill for his friends, it's not just like, oh, this is a room full of my bestest friends. He pays the bill for people who hate him. He pays the bill for people who have rejected him. He takes on that burden. He becomes the sacrifice because that's how complete and perfect his love is. It's an unfathomable love, honestly. In Jesus' life, he was despised. He suffered tremendous pain. And through his life, suffered through accusations, being like, no, you're not God. How can you be perfect, right? All these people who are against Jesus, yet Jesus dies on the cross for everyone who chooses to acknowledge who Jesus is. As I was saying kind of earlier on in this episode, in our insecurity, we think we need to earn our love, right? We need to perform in a certain way. Jesus sees us before we see him, and he says, Emily, she's done nothing to earn my love, yet I have taken on her unlovableness. I have taken on her sin and I've died for it because I love her. And because of that, Emily is free. She doesn't have to pay a single thing on the bill because I've paid it already. She has no looming check above her head. That is the model of perfect love for us. That is the model that we have to go off of. And so now we come to our conclusion. We end in a place where we began. We started by talking about our longing for love. What we are actually longing for is a craving for God. We are craving a complete love, a love that sees everything about us, and a love that dies on our behalf, a love that moves towards us, does not look for us to earn any type of love. Our relationships are only a glimpse of the complete, perfect love that only God can supply and only God can sustain perfectly throughout time. A lot of our love on earth is temporary, right? It comes and it goes, it waxes and it wanes, it ebbs and it flows. And this is not to say that human love is unimportant, but it is to say that human love is only a glimpse, right? We have experienced so much wonderful love in this world, but it is only a glimpse. It is only a taste. Imagine you just get a little, as you're cooking your dinner, you have a little taste of what you're going to serve at dinner. The love that we experience in our human relationships, that's only a taste of the final meal, the banquet, the true complete love that we experience in Christ. And so our capacity to love each other that is just pointing towards something greater. It's pointing towards our Creator. It's pointing towards the one who created us to be able to love, because he has perfect love. And so when he created us in his image, we also have the ability to love. And that's such a blessing to even be able to experience love, but it is pointing towards something greater, something more complete. And so when we redefine the source of love that will satisfy that hunger for love, that eradication of loneliness, of feeling unseen and misunderstood, we then discover the center of love is God, is Jesus Christ himself. And perfect love changes everything. It does reframe the way we love other people. It does reframe, realizing that we do have limitations and that we should have grace with other people, that we should forgive other people, and that we should apologize to other people in ways that we hurt them, right? And that we aren't perfect in love, but that's because we know the one who is perfect in love. And that is our hope, right? It is not all dark and dismal. Like, we do have a hope in a perfect love, and it changes everything. There's so many applications in every branch of our life of how knowing the perfect love, the true source of perfect love, changes everything. It changes everything. I really hope that this encourages you and speaks into your life that there is a greater hope. There is a such thing as complete love, as perfect love, something that you have probably been craving your entire life. Will you reach out and accept that? So this was the fourth and I think final episode of this Human Heart series. It has been so exciting. I think I want to do, more series from now on. I think series give really great structure to these really complex ideas. I love you guys so much. I'm really, really glad that you're willing to take this leap with me. We are here excavating. We are excavating the layers of our hearts, understanding them a little bit better, why we churn the way that we do. I just do hope that you can find some rest, some peace wherever you are. Take a deep breath with me. Let's do it right now. I realize, I need to breathe more than I realize. Each time someone says take a deep breath, I'm like, I don't need to take a deep breath. Don't tell me to take a deep breath. And then I take one, and I'm like, I needed that more than anything else in the world. I need to take 10 of these deep breaths. So hopefully you can continue to take some deep breaths at the end of this video after this is off. And yeah, thanks for taking the journey with me, and I hope you stay tuned for next week's video. See you guys soon. Bye.